Do you realize that Harvard University officially is giving out and putting up in their dining rooms and giving kids to take home for the holidays holiday placemat for social justice? They're imploding the universities. This placemat is disgusting. It is disgusting. They can't help themselves. They are indoctrination centers. Even the Harvard Crimson acknowledged, well, there are students who say this is indoctrination, not education. Of course it is. That's exactly right. Okay. Holiday placemat for social justice. Did you put it up at our website? I want people to see it. You understand the totalitarian nature of leftism? They don't want you to go home and actually just enjoy your family. They want you to promote left-wing values in the home. Remember years ago, they had, the schools were telling parents, schools were telling students, elementary schools, and now if you go home and you hear the following from your parents, you have to explain that that's racism. It was a government website that was set up for that, to essentially to report on your parents that, I have racist parents. The difference between the left and the communist regimes is opportunity. That's the difference. Because in their hearts, not everybody on the left, of course not. The people on the left who hate communism are called liberals, but not the left. I saw it during the heyday of communism, so I know of what I speak. If you hated communism, you were called a fanatical anti-communist. They give you a placemat to take home, isn't it? It's unbelievable. A placemat guide for holiday discussions on race and justice with loved ones. God, you understand now leftism is a religion? It's like those who say, this is how you can go home and bring your family to Christ. Now, if somebody had that, they would say, oh, you see, look at the religious. They're brainwashing the kids. They're brainwashing the kids. Holiday placemat. I got to get one. I would put it up. So they have 4 color-filled boxes. Purple, green, orange, and red. Top left, right. Top left one is orange. Yale/student activism. Why are black students complaining? Shouldn't they be happy to be in college? That's the italicized line you're going to get from your stupid relatives. Get it? Then your social justice phenomenon. By the way, whoever said shouldn't they be happy to be in college? But I do believe why are black students complaining is a pretty legitimate question. Why are you complaining? You're among the luckiest human beings on earth, generally speaking. All right? You're pampered. Whether you're a white student or a black student or a Hispanic student or Asian student, you're pampered on an American campus. Response. This is what you should say to your loved ones. This is from Harvard. When I hear students expressing their experiences of racism on campus, I don't hear complaining. Instead, I hear young people uplifting a situation that I may not experience. What does that mean, uplifting a situation? Why does the left have to create a new vocabulary? It's like Gnosticism. It's a hidden knowledge. If non-black students get the privilege of that safe environment, I believe that same privilege should be given to all students. See? So the Harvard now is on board with it is dangerous for blacks. It's not safe for blacks at Harvard. Get it? Mind-blowing? I like this. Uplift a situation that I may not experience. I'm going to start uplifting situations on the air. Next, Islamophobia, spelled incorrectly, by the way, by Harvard, /refugees. This is what your relative will say. We shouldn't let anyone in the U.S. from Syria. We can't guarantee that terrorists won't infiltrate the ranks of refugees. They've already done it in France. Response. They're telling you how to respond to your loved ones. The U.S. has been accepting refugees from war-torn areas around the world for decades. Remember the wars in Central America? They were extremely violent, and the U.S. accepted refugees from all sides of the wars with very strict vetting and not one incident of violence. Racial justice includes welcoming Syrian refugees. Well, first of all, how does that answer the question? Because we let in refugees from El Salvador, therefore it's identical to refugees from Syria? Were there Central American terrorists who were bent on creating a Central American version of a caliphate and to murder every single non-Central American? This is Harvard, ladies and gentlemen. They're wastelands. Do you understand? Our universities have become wastelands. To give students a placemat to take home and ruin their family meals? This is how you can indoctrinate your loved ones with social justice? How disgusting. 1-8-Prager 776. But on the other hand, it does make me think maybe we should make placemats. Placemats for stupid left-wing relatives. That's what we would call it. Except we have a different view. We think you should just love up your left-wing relatives, not try to indoctrinate them. Harvard is giving out placemats for you to take home so that you can preach social justice to your loved ones. You believe that? It's classic. What is my view? Every one of you, even those of you on the left, know I have a very different view about what you do with loved ones at holiday meals. You just love them up. You know that. I've always said, do not argue politics. You get only one family, or I mean, in other words, whether there are two families or three families, you get one family in life. So protect it. Most of my relatives voted for Barack Obama. I love them all. And that's what I talk about. What am I going to do? Argue? What kind of nice holiday is that going to be? But not for the left. The left brings its views into everything possible. There is no sacred space for the left. Life is politics. Life is whatever cause they believe in. Because they have basically a soulless life, most are secular, and this is their religion. If you don't understand leftism as religion, you cannot understand leftism. And so there are religious people who feel that they should be indoctrinating or preaching their religious beliefs at every opportunity. And most non-religious people look at them as fanatics, not to mention unenjoyable, right? Now, if you're asked, it's one thing. Gee, why do you believe in X? That's fine. So there were four things here. Black students unsafe on campus. And we have to take in Syrian refugees. Then here's a doozy. Housemaster title. So here's the relatives' question. Why did they change the name? What does a housemaster have to do with slavery? It's not related to that at all, which is an entirely accurate statement. They had housemasters at Harvard. Now they've dropped the title. How long have they had that title? Hundreds of years? Yeah. It must be. Response. For some, the term master used to describe stewardship of a group of people, such as a house, is reminiscent of slave masters and the legacy of slavery. The title housemaster is no longer actively associated with its historical antecedents, nor is it used to address housemasters. Given the name is offensive, given that the name, by the way, they don't know how to write. They got their grammar is wrong, their spelling is wrong. This is Harvard. Because after all, you have to feel. You don't have to know.
Tell the people where it's from.
Where it's from?
Yeah, who wrote this? Look at the bottom.
Who wrote? Good point. Who wrote it? The Harvard College Office for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion.
Oh my goodness, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, it's such a good point. Yeah, it's such a good point. It really adds to Harvard's legitimacy. Given the name, given that the name, but given the name is offensive to groups of people, it doesn't seem onerous to change it. The mastery of a subject is an understandable use of the word. However, within our cultural and historical context, implying mastery of people feels both inappropriate and ill-founded. There are other words we could use, such as head of house. They won't like head of house. That's patriarchal. Oh, man, they're going to drop head of house within 2 years. Head of house. It smacks of biblical patriarchy. See, they have nothing to fight to love. Remember, when you don't fight great evils, Prager's rule of life, number 13. When you don't fight real evils, you make up little ones. What was Brett Stevens' great term? He had a great term for that. Oh, manufactured? No, not manufactured. Take a look, because he had a great term. Mine is what I just said. When you don't fight, I've been saying this for decades. But he had another great term for what the left does in making up evils. And finally, black murders in the street. This is what your relative might say. Why didn't they just listen to the officer? If they had just obeyed the law, this wouldn't have happened. Response. Do you think the response would be the same if it was a white person being pulled over? In many incidents, that result is the death of a black body in the street. By the way, do you get the English there? In many instances, that result in the death. I think the guy who wrote this, or the woman who wrote it, was drunk at the time, or was high on marijuana, which may be legal in Massachusetts, and dictated it because they could do this as boilerplate. In many instances would be better, but okay. In many incidents, that result in the death of a black body. A black body's death in the street. Okay. These victims are not breaking the law and are unarmed. With Tamir Rice, he was a 12-year-old boy playing in the park. When the officers pulled up, they gave no verbal commands and shot within 2 seconds of arriving at the scene. He was not breaking any laws. He was given no orders to obey. Yeah, but he had pulled out a gun, and he's 191 pounds and 5'7". I'm not defending the police. I'm explaining that it's a little more complex than the simpletons of the left make it, that's all. Aren't they the guys who say only the right thinks in terms of black and white? We on the left think in nuanced terms. This placemat is a good example of thinking in nuanced terms. You know what? You know who make the best argument for your kids seeing Prager University videos? Harvard, Yale, UCLA, University of Michigan, etc., etc. Back in a moment. You are listening to the Dennis Prager Show.
I would rather be governed by the first 2,000 people in the Boston Telephone Directory than by the 2,000 people on the faculty of Harvard University.